All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Kelly Tibbert. I'm your National AMSA president this year, and I'm so excited that you're all here and so excited to hear about AMSA and you all as leaders this year. This is my ninth year in AMSA, and so you can imagine how excited I am for you all to be excited about this organization. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to talk about a few different things here. So first is the AMSA history. So oftentimes when I'm out meeting people, they ask me, so what is it like being involved with the AMA? And so we have actually a unique history when it comes to the American Medical Student Association. We were founded in 1950, and we were originally the Student American Medical Association, or SAMA. At this time, we were affiliated with the American Medical Association, or the AMA, as you all might know them. In the late 60s, however, SAMA realized that they weren't really able to speak up about issues that they were interested in or really wanted to take a stand on. For instance, civil rights. Their parent organization, the AMA, prohibited them from speaking about these important issues that they thought were meaningful to their patients and to them as physicians in training. So, SAMA parted ways from the AMA and had freedom to speak on issues that were important to them. They quickly became leaders in medical education reform, and eventually, in 1975, SAMA changed their name to AMSA, which you now know us as the American Medical Student Association. And this was to clarify that we had separated from the AMA and to clarify that we stood for values that we were not previously allowed to speak about and that we would continue to speak about these issues no matter what anybody told us. Fun fact, the National Health Service Corps is actually something that came out of the American Medical Student Association. So just a little bit more about our history. So for more than 60 years now, AMSA has represented the voice of physicians in training and their efforts to best serve the public. Like I said, we came from the roots of AMA and we're very different now. And if you have a chance to go to our website and look at this timeline, you can really see the nitty-gritty of things that we've done as an organization. We're very much known for our advocacy and for speaking out on issues that others don't really like to take a stance on because they're controversial. But we pride ourselves in doing that and for speaking up for patients and for ourselves as physicians in training. So AMSA today, I want to talk a little bit about what we've got going on now. So today, and for the past, several years, AMSA's had four aspirations that our members put their efforts towards. So one is advocating for quality, another is affordable healthcare for all, a third is global health equity, and the fourth is enriching medicine through diversity, professional development, and student wellness. We have action committees and teams, which I'll talk about in a few moments, who often educate our members on subjects that are not traditionally taught in medical curricula. So AMSA today, this year, we have three national advocacy strategies. This doesn't mean that we don't focus on other issues. This just means that we've kind of honed in on these three more broad issue areas so that we can be a combined voice when it comes to these things. So these three issues are women's health, LGBT health, and healthcare for all, or the single payer movement. While we are focused on these three as our national advocacy strategy, like I said, it doesn't mean that we're not doing other things throughout the year. We focused a lot recently on Zika, on gun violence prevention, on the opioid epidemic, and also on the blood ban for men who have sex with men. AMSA focuses on a lot of different issues, but like I said, we've honed in on these three as our main advocacy strategy for the year. We do have 3-year-long campaigns that have been going on for a very long time within AMSA. Maybe you've heard of them. One is our Just Med campaign. This campaign focuses on conflict of interest in medical education and ensures that physicians are prescribing solely for the benefit of the patient, not for profit for themselves, not for profit of pharmaceutical companies. We have the AIDS Advocacy Network, which the name kind of speaks for itself. They advocate on all things on behalf of HIV that are HIV/AIDS related. Recently, they've been pushing a lot for the pharmaceutical industries to offer medications to folks with HIV/AIDS that are friendly for people to get, that are affordable. Oftentimes we don't really see that. So they've been focusing on that lately. And then we have healthcare for all, which is our single payer movement. You may have heard a little bit about this in the elections recently, but this is something AMSA has been focused on for a while now, and this is something that we're going to continue to focus on throughout the rest of this year. So we hope that you'll join us in these campaigns. These aren't things you need to be elected to, they're things you just need to sign up, join, and get involved. And we'd love to see you in all three of these campaigns. Our leadership structure seems daunting at first, but I promise you it's not once you get to know a little bit about it. So we do have the Board of Trustees, which I'm the chair of, being the national president, but we do have 11 other members of the Board of Trustees. From there, oftentimes the breakdown falls into membership and programming. So you'll see that under membership, we have the Board of Regional Directors, which oversees all the medical domestic chapters in the country, the International Regional Directors, who will oversee all of the international chapters, and our pre-med regional directors, who will focus on all of our pre-med chapters. We also have our programming component of our leadership. So this will be things like the chairs of our action committees and teams, or our programming coordinators or advocacy coordinators. These are also our campaigns, as well as our scholars programs. There's a lot of leadership in National AMSA, and if you have any questions about any of these things, feel free to reach out to us to see how you can kind of simulate these at your own institutions in your own chapters, and also how you can get involved because elections are coming up soon at our annual convention. It's important for you all, being leaders at your chapters, to really promote on campus. And oftentimes people are unaware of AMSA, what we do, because like I said, we do so many things in National AMSA. Sometimes it's hard for them to get a grasp of what we're doing. So you'll kind of be our bridge between your local chapter and the national level. You can help let your chapters know what we're focusing on this year, perhaps our national advocacy strategies. Let them know that we have all these national leadership positions that they can and should run for. And if you have any questions, or if they have any questions, we're always here and we're readily available. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about our House of Delegates. As Noreen mentioned, the House of Delegates is extremely important. This is the place where we make policy in AMSA. So this is going to be taking place at our national convention. It's 2 days long, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this here. So the policy that we're making in the House of Delegates is the language that we'll put into our governing documents. Our governing documents are the CBIA and the PPP. This is our Constitution, Bylaws, and Internal Affairs, and our Preamble, Purposes, and Principles. The CBIA basically lays out how we will run as an organization, how elections will happen, who our leaders will be, how chapters will be formed, all of those good things. Our PPP, on the other hand, will be stances on issues that we take as an organization. For instance, AMSA has a particular stance on the single payer movement. If you look in our governing document in the PPP, you'll see that AMSA is very pro single payer and that this is what we will fight for. However, there are some things that are not in our PPP, and if they don't show up in this, AMSA as an organization cannot speak about these issues because our members have not reached consensus about the issues. So this is where you all come in, as well as your local members. If you all have something that you want to see AMSA speak about that you haven't heard us take a stance on, this is where you need to work with your regional directors and work with Flutie, our VPIA, to write resolutions for this year's House of Delegates. You'll write a resolution by December 26th of this year and submit it. This will go to our House of Delegates and go through a process that I don't think I have enough time to talk about right now, but if you have any questions, please email me and I'd love to talk to you about it. And it'll go through a process, it'll get debated at convention, we'll hear testimony from the resolution author and from others who are wanting to take a stance on this. Then we'll hear debate on it, we'll vote on it, and it could become policy or it could not, depending on how everybody feels about it. The key players of the House of Delegates, and I want to iterate that the main players of the House of Delegates are you all, AMSA members. AMSA is pretty unique in that we are the only student-run national organization in the country. We don't have a parent organization. Like I said, we did have the AMA as our parent organization previously in the 50s, but we broke away from them. So now everything that we say as AMSA members is purely coming from the mouths of students, of physicians in training. This is your time to take a stance, to stand up, to make your voice heard, and I really want to encourage you to do so. Other players of the House of Delegates are our Vice President for Internal Affairs, Fluti Naka, and our National Secretary, Ramona Mittal. They'll be running the elections in the House of Delegates and also the House business itself with the resolutions and the debate and the voting. So the ins and outs of the House of Delegates, we do have different committees, and these are pretty important things that I want to mention here really quickly. The Rules Committee makes sure that we have rules for the House of Delegates of how the business for those 2 days are going to run, and those are made up of mostly Board of Trustees members. The Credentials Committee is the gatekeeper to the House of Delegates. So these are people who will sit outside the House of Delegates, make sure that we're only letting in certain people who have registered to be a delegate, who can vote, and those who are coming in just as guests or observers. We have the Nominating Committee or the Nominations Committee. These are the folks who will oversee the elections process, not just of the Board of Trustees, but of all national leadership positions. And they'll make sure that our code of election conduct is being followed. And then we also have the Reference Committee, or what we like to call REFCOM. This is where resolutions go, where testimony is heard. They gather the testimony from all of the members who show up to give their input, and they synthesize what our members feel about certain issues, and they'll present to the House of Delegates. One thing I really want to mention about these committees is that if you apply for these committee positions and if you're accepted, oftentimes, and I believe this is what we're doing this year, is that you get a free registration to convention, or at least a significant reduction in convention registration. So be on the lookout for our application call for these committees. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Fluti Naka, your Vice President for Internal Affairs. So just a few key dates and contacts. Like I said, the submission for resolutions, the deadline is December 26th of this year. These two lovely ladies on the screen here, Fluti and Ramona, they'll be putting together all the resolutions and posting them by January 25th. You'll have time to review them with your chapters, and this is important. Make sure that you look at the resolutions with your chapters, come up with how you all feel about the resolutions, and send a delegate to the House of Delegates to give testimony, to vote on these issues, and to have your chapter's voice heard at National AMSA's House of Delegates. And the HOD will be taking place at National Convention, February 24th through 25th here in Washington, D.C. If you have any questions, you can email here at the bottom of the screen our Secretary, Ramona Mittal, or our VPIA, Fluti Naka, and you can always email me. I'd be happy to hear from you. Thank you all for being here, and I'm going to pass off the mic to Isaiah Cochran, our VP of Membership. Thanks.
Hello. I hope everyone can hear me. I was having little trouble staying logged on to the Kaplan outlet that we're using, but okay, good. I see in the box that people can hear me. So, my name is Isaiah Cochran. I am an N2 at Wright State University Boonshoff School of Medicine, and I've been a part of AMSA now for about 6 years. So I started as a freshman in college, and I will say that it has been an amazing experience, and I hope I can relay that all to you in my presentation that I have for you all tonight. And I also hope that I can help you all relay that passion on to the members and the people that you are trying to recruit at all of your schools. So why AMSA? So what I'm going to do for you all is I'm going to walk you through these questions, and then I'm also going to give you examples for me. What does AMSA mean for me? So you all kind of get an idea. And I know I'm supposed to stay on time, so I'm going to do my best, because when it comes to speaking about AMSA, sometimes I tend to keep talking. So first off, why AMSA? And when people ask me why they want to be a part of, why they should be a part of the American Medical Student Association versus LMSA and AMA and all the other organizations that students can be a part of as pre-med and medical students. And I always say what Kelly pointed out, this is a student-run organization. And not only that, this is a student-run organization that has proven over the years that we not only can step up and have our voices heard, but we can step up and actually make a difference. So this is just not an organization for the national leaders to step up and make a difference. And I always try to stress that because at times I feel like members don't necessarily understand that they too can get involved not only in national things, but they can also get involved in the local level and still make a difference while representing AMSA. So, AMSA is a very progressive organization that seeks to not only empower future physicians, but also seeks social justice and many things of the like. So, that is, if you look at our programming, which Diana will talk about, that's a lot of the things that we focus on. So, AMSA for me, as I've stated, is an amazing organization. And I can say I don't think I would be in medical school right now if I hadn't had the guidance of some of my friends that I've made in AMSA and just some of the programming that I've participated in within AMSA. So always make sure to use your story when speaking with people about AMSA, but also if you do struggle, if you ever do struggle with relaying what AMSA is, we have on our website membership videos for medical and pre-medical students. And if it gets down to it, I will always be more than welcome to do virtual chapter visits this year to help speak with the members and all of you. That is something that we're really trying to push this year, really getting our faces out there to help you all out with recruitment. So I'm not going to stay on this slide too long, but I just want to lay it out, put it out there for you all. And if you ever have questions, you can reach out to me. The AMSA narrative. So this is essentially when you tell members or people you're trying to recruit why you joined AMSA and give them proof as to how AMSA has helped you. So what I'll tell you right now is plain and simple. For me, I've been an AMSA leader now at the national level. This is my fourth year. And when I applied to medical school, I was asked more about my participation in AMSA than the research fellowships I had at two Ivy League schools. And in fact, I got a publication out of one of those research fellowships that I did. And I will say, in my interviews, they mentioned a little bit about it, but they seemed more intrigued and captivated by some of my other extracurriculars, and AMSA being one of the main ones they asked about. So, my AMSA narrative, I've approached it many different ways, but to keep it concise, I will tell you that I believe this is one of the main reasons why I had multiple acceptances at medical schools, because I think this is what set me apart, my passion to help my fellow students and to pay it forward. And that is something that I forgot to mention on the previous slide, that AMSA is a great organization if you really, really want to step up and not only make a difference, but help those who need help. And I believe for me, that is why I was able to use AMSA as kind of a platform for getting into medical school. So I encourage you all to think of a 30-second speech or 30-second narrative, if you will, of how AMSA has benefited you. And of course, if you need help with that, definitely reach out to me and the regional directors. Um, and also, if you are a pre-medical student or an international student, if you're pre-med, you can reach out to Bilal. And if you are an international student, you can reach out to Smith. But again, any of us will be able to help you. So now I would like to introduce Smith, our international trustee, and he's going to help you out on how to be a successful chapter officer.
Hey guys, my name is Smith Daliwala. I'm the international trustee here at AMSA, and it's kind of great to be doing this orientation with you guys. Um, I'm the international trustee. I started off with AMSA as a chapter officer, so I think I have a lot to kind of contribute with chapter officers. Chapter officers are extremely important to the organization, and the reason for that being is that it's not your region directors, it's not your board of trustees, but in fact, it's you guys who are going to be in direct contact with your university, the student population, and most importantly, you guys have a really good idea of what's going on or what's really important and what's of need at your university. So you guys have a good gauge of that. Um, Being the face of AMSA is you guys representing the organization at your university. And I think that's very important because people look up to you guys, people who share the same interest or who want to get involved with the organization come to you guys first. So I think it's very, very important if the chapter officers and all of the chapter officers kind of work as one cohesive unit. Recruiting members is important, and then there's multiple reasons for that. You know, you want to obviously expand your chapter. People with like-minded ideas and interests get involved with you guys. It also helps keep the longevity of the chapter as well. And most importantly, it serves as a medium for a lot of students to get involved with things that we believe in. For example, you know, some of the really cool things that we do every year um, is that we have something called a rally day, and it's right before the convention. What it does is it kind of puts into focus what we believe in, and we take it to a much larger medium, and that's government, right? That sort of opportunity, that sort of exposure, um, a lot of students don't get, and that's something that you can get involved with. During the fall, we have national programming available as well, which kind of focuses on topics which are not taught in the traditional medical curriculum, healthcare policy, community healthcare, international healthcare. There's so many ways to get involved with an AMSA. We have national events as well. We have the annual convention, we have the fall conference, and let me tell you guys, these national events are just a trove of exposure, experience, and knowledge. Whether you are a pre-med student or a medical student or even a resident, there's so much that you can learn out of these national events. We have research poster sessions. If you're a med student, we invite program directors from all over to come in and kind of host mock interviews. If you're a pre-med student, we have a pre-med fair that's set up for you as well. So, you know, keeping in mind what you want to, you know, get involved with or what your plans are for the next few years. Um, we have competitions. We have just great educators from all over the country who are out there. One of my favorite educators is Dr. Mangione. He actually specializes in physical diagnosis, an art that is, you know, kind of on the decline. So again, it's just an amazing place to be at. Um, I think when you guys are trying to figure out what's going on with your chapter, when you guys are trying to figure out how can we expand our chapter, the most important thing is that all of you guys need to come together and see, all right, what is the most important thing, or what is something that's going to really help kind of get everyone's interest together. I know that a lot of chapters, they have different kinds of events, whether it is getting one of our partners on board. For example, if you're a pre-med student trying to prepare for the MCATs, or if you're a med student preparing for the boards, our partners can come out to your university and kind of set up an event. Um, you could have advocacy related events as well. A few chapters have sort of small interest groups set up. For example, if you're a med student, we have like let's say you could set up a cardiology interest group, or you could set up a surgery interest group. There's so many interest groups that you could set up through the organization. And at our national events, what we do is we kind of call the national organizations out to these events. So if you're interested in ACP, the American College of Physicians, ACOG, which is obstetrics or surgery or emergency medicine, they're all out at our national events. So it really helps, you know, keep in mind what you want to get involved with in your years of training. Um, you want to ensure longevity of your chapter, and I think that's very important, and that's a sign of a very successful board or successful chapter officers, is that you kind of keep in mind that whatever we achieve in our in our term, we want to make sure it kind of goes on in the next few you know, next few years. And that what that involves is getting the next people in line, getting the next people you know, of the organization trained, and kind of just thinking how you guys are thinking. So you want to keep in mind that longevity is important for the organization and the chapter. Uh, you could, I know we have five national directors. We have three international directors. Uh, get in touch with them. If you have any questions, if there's something that you need to troubleshoot, run it by them. They are probably the best people to help you get a better grasp of your chapter if there are any questions. One of the real cool things that we do is what we do. It's called the chapter spotlight, and what we do is we highlight a chapter and a chapter officer every month uh, for anything that you guys have done in your particular region. Um, and what that does is that kind of really gives, that puts into perspective what you guys are doing. It kind of tells everyone within, just not just the United States, but all over the world who are part of the AMSA networks, what you guys are doing. And it really, kind of brings the spotlight to you guys. So I think that's very important. Um, Before I kind of get done talking about chapter officers, obviously it's a team effort. You guys want to do a great job as the board, but think of it as sort of a personal goal as well, right? If your plan is to get involved with medicine, but not just clinic, not just being a clinician, but getting involved with organizations or getting involved with government or healthcare policy advocacy, AMSA is a great medium to kind of hone and develop your skills, right? Can you help develop your chapter? Can you get people involved? Can you can you introduce different ideas, new ideas, events to get people involved? And that requires a certain amount of skills. So for me, I definitely use that as an advantage to build those sort of skills. So think of it as a personal goal as well. We have tons and tons of resources and personnel available for you guys. You have the national office, the board, the region directors. They're all out there to help you guys. We have so many different partners that we're associated with. You can definitely get a lot of people involved just through our partners. Um, and we just have a great network and sort of national programming events that we have that you guys can get involved with. If there's any questions that you have, um, please feel free to get please feel free to get in touch with me at international.trustee@amsa.org. And I am gonna pass it over to Bilal, and he's gonna be talking about leadership support. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everyone. You all can hear me, correct? Yes. Okay, good. Um, I will try to position this camera like I had it before. Okay, so, um, I'm sorry about the microphone issues with Bilal. Hopefully we get them fixed and we can you can hear from him because it is very important for the pre-medical students to know what's going on as well. We love all of you, and I can say because I was pre-medical trustee a few years ago, so I don't want you all to think we are forgetting about you. But now I can talk a little bit about the needs of our membership and also what to know as a member and what to also know in terms of the benefits that we offer. And one thing I will say is I feel like this is one part of AMSA that people don't know about, which is weird because I always hear from people, oh, AMSA doesn't give anything, but the AMA gives out stuff. And that might be true that the AMA may give out things as well, which I know for a fact, but we also have packages that we will send out as well as a multitude of benefits. So with that, I am going to move on. So here we just kind of want to show you a snapshot of our membership. So the first one I would like to speak about is the graduates. So of course, these are people who have finished medical school and are now in their residency. And then we have our physicians. But of course, the bulk of our membership is composed of the domestic meds, the pre-medical students, and the international medical students. And one thing that I would like to mention to all of you is that our medical student number is fluctuating, and primarily because we have just recently re-implemented the membership dues for the med students. So of course we are seeing a little change there, but as you can see, we still are a very large organization, and you can see that the medical student still make up most of the membership. And hopefully this year, along with the 12 regional directors that are I work with, hopefully we can help to build that number even more. So again, this is just a snapshot so you can see who makes up AMSA. So I kind of jumped the gun on this. So you can see the membership dues. I will not spend a lot of time talking about this. If you have any questions, please ask in the box, in the chat box, and I know a lot of the people in that box can answer the questions for you. One thing that I would like to state again and or reiterate is the fact that the medical student members again are now paying. There was a time where we went through a free membership model for them, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I just want to kind of let you all know where we're at now in 2016. So this is a question that I felt, when I was a pre-medical trustee, and especially even when I was a pre-medical student and I was trying to establish a chapter at my undergrad, why should I pay $75 to be a part of this organization? And I spent some of the last part of the presentation I gave to you all talking about the tangible benefits of the American Medical Student Association and also the intangible benefits. But what I want to state here, and a good, concise answer to this is if you do not know the benefits of AMSA, when you are doing a recruitment fair or whatever, beforehand, before you do that, make sure that you have contacted myself or Noreen Rich and some of the other people involved in membership, Rachel Glassford, to receive a membership package. And this is a recruitment package that will help you out in answering this question. So if you find yourself getting stuck on how can I convince people to pay the $75, pretty much it'll be a concise write up on what I've spoken about earlier. But again, this does happen to be a stopping point for a lot of people. But again, this is $75 for the whole time you are going through your pre-medical training or medical training. So it's not really $75 per year. It's $75 in total. So you divide that up, and hopefully with that you can kind of let people see that it's not really that much money annually. And I'm sure we all know that we spend a lot more money on a lot of other things outside of school. So $75 really for an organization like this, I believe, of course, that it is very, very worthwhile. But again, if you have more questions, please ask. So, can I become just a local member and not a national member? And you can see, you all can read it. The answer is no. And I wish that was capitalized all the way. It is down there with the no exceptions. But I will tell you right now, I have spoken with chapter presidents who have helped put on very, very, very great events. But the problem is that if you are not a national leader, if you're not, I'm sorry, if you're not a national member, there is no way that Noreen and any of the other people in the office, when it comes time to applying somewhere, will be able to affirm that you are in fact an AMSA member, because you're not going to show up in our member directory. So it is very imperative, if AMSA is meaningful to you, and if it's something that you or any of your members want to put on their CV, resume, what have you, they need to make sure that they are paying that $75 and becoming a national member, because then it kind of looks badly on you. It looks as if you've kind of falsified, and you don't want to do that. So this is very important. So this is something that is new. So what we have done is we're doing these chapter rebates. And as you can see, I'm not going to read through this for you. We have the dates up there when we do the rebates, when the rebate period is. But let me tell you, this is something, if you are a big chapter, even for the small chapters, but especially for you very big chapters who tend to have a lot of people coming in, and you do have people joining, that $15 rebate for each member adds up, and that's money that's going back to your chapter. But we have to realize that the rebates are only for active chapters, and I will get into the active chapter status soon, but be very mindful of this and encourage your members, recruit so you can get the money and then put on great events. So this is something new, and I think it's a really great incentive for you all to get people to join National AMSA. So active chapters. So we have a lot of charter chapters. So that means there are a lot of chapters that we recognize that show up into our directory. Now I'll tell you, not all of those chapters are active. And I will read this to you. It's, how do we become an active chapter? Or another way of putting it, how do we become a chapter of good standing in regards to how the national AMSA views your chapter? So, one, you must have a minimum of 5 members who are national members. Not just 5 members, but they must be national members. You must also register your chapter officers on file. I know that for the medical regional directors, they have been sending out emails and doing a very good job at allowing you all to be able to see how you can access that information and make sure you can get your chapter officers on file. And lastly, you must do the core training, which you're on right now, and you must fill out that questionnaire, which I also know will be provided for you after court at some point. So this is very important, and I know the BRDs have been doing this, and I also know that the PRDs, the pre-medical regional directors, I'm sorry that I'm using all of these acronyms. I will try to catch myself. I know the pre-medical regional directors are also doing this as well. So I've just covered a series of very important information, but again, if you've missed anything, please type in the chat box, and please feel free to reach out to anyone. But especially if you have a question for me, you know, I've given my cell phone number as well as my email, so I'm very available to you. So Here we go. Member benefits. I am not going to sit here and walk you all through this slide, but what I will say is this is a very good representation of what AMSA provides for its members. And now what this is showing you is that there are multiple benefits that you can get and discounts that you can get as an AMSA member on these products or through these different organizations. So the one that I would like to talk about, because I have just recently started using it, is Firecracker, which I find to be pretty awesome, and members get a discount on that. And forgive me, I do not know the exact discount, but I'm sure somebody can get that for you. But what I'm trying to illustrate to you is not only does AMSA provide all of these opportunities to get involved, but if you really take a look at what we do for you, we also provide things and ways for you to help your education. So please, please, please reach out to me. I don't want to spend more time on this right now, but I can tell you a lot more about some of these things. But right now I just kind of want to paint that picture for you. So in fact, I'm encouraging you all to reach out to me, Rachel Glassford, Doreen Rich, and any of the membership team about these opportunities. Okay, I just advanced a couple slides. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back here. I think, okay, one more and then I'm good. Okay, thank you. So I kind of had issues. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so as a pre-medical member, you will receive the MCAT flashcards in a box. You also get a 10% stackable discount. So what this means, of course, is whatever promotion Kaplan is running at the time, you will then get an additional 10% off. So please, please look into this for you pre-medical people who are on the call right now, because again, I will say that AMSA really defined my pre-medical experience, and here's a kind of great way that AMSA kind of gives you a little gift for being a member. So really look into this, and this is also a great way to compete with other organizations at your recruitment fair. So what I'll tell you is when I helped to initiate a chapter at my undergrad, we actually were sent recruitment MCAT flashcards. I don't know exactly what we would do at this point, but we can discuss that. But at that time, I was sent the recruitment flashcards as well as some really solid recruitment info for pre-med students. And we really got a lot of people to join AMSA because we had things to give them. So one thing I will state while I'm on this, and I've did not state this before. One thing when it comes to being a chapter officer, I understand the angst with I can't get anybody to join. What do I do? I've been there. I've also been there as a national leader. How can we think of new and better ways to get people to become a part of AMSA? And what I will tell you right now, and I really almost would encourage you to write this down, is to first thing you want to start with is something that you can give them. So something tangible. And that is what was illustrated on our previous slide. And then from there, that is when you can kind of draw them in slowly. And then hopefully they will see the benefits of AMSA in terms of the programming and everything that we have to offer. And again, Diana will talk about that a lot more as we move on with this presentation. So pre-medical members, here are some more things that you can get involved with. I've kind of been talking about this for a while. I will not stay on this long, but I'll leave this slide up for a few seconds. So if you guys have any questions, you can see what each thing is and you can type it in the chat box. So please take a look at this slide and then I'm going to continue on. So medical members, some of the same thing for you, just more outlets for you to use. I have not used any of these yet. I have used, again, Firecracker. I've begun to use Firecracker. I use it a bit through my first year, and it did help me with some things. And I see that some of you typing in the chat box have used some of these things already. So I will keep going. If you have questions about anything specific, please enter in the chat box or please reach out to us after this session. Okay, so all members, and this is something that I cannot forget to mention to you all. It is imperative that you know about our partnership with the Bank of America. So as you can see, not only can you earn cash back, but you can also get multiple discounts on things as an AMSA member. And the Bank of America card, I feel like as an AMSA member, they have helped us so much. They've really, in my view, have really helped AMSA kind of stay on their feet. And they're not the only partner we have, but they are one of our strongest, if not our strongest partners. And I see that some of you do have the AMSA card. So please, please look into this and please, please ask questions because I cannot stress to you enough how much of a help Bank of America has been to the American Medical Student Association. And I already have seen Roberta, one of the regional directors that I have the opportunity to work with this year. I see she's answering questions or has been answering questions about Canopy. And I also see some people have mentioned things about Canopy. So I won't stay on there on that topic, but I will again say look in the chat box and ask any questions. So, our latest AMSA perks. So I am going to talk about AMSA AMP, and I hope that I do this adequately. So Rachel, I apologize if I do not. I'm still learning a lot about this too, but this is a great way for medical students who are moving on to the next step, which is residency, to kind of figure out the best way to go about getting in to the residency of their choice. So, AMSA has partners with pre-medical, with organizations that will help pre-medical students get into medical school. This is essentially helping our medical student members move on to their next step. And I think this is really great because this will also help us probably build a stronger tie with our alumni because we have now helped them get on to their next step. So this is new and I'm still learning about it. But if you are a third year this year, just beginning third year, or even a fourth year, I would look into this because I think that this is a great opportunity for you. And I know that Rachel Glassford is one that can really help you in answering questions about this. Um, so member benefits, as you've seen, we have so many of them, and we continually have new ones, and then some of the ones that we have had in the past, we kind of move on from, and you know how it goes with partners, but we are continually adding new benefits for our members. So it is very important that you all visit our membership page because the staff tries their hardest to keep this up to date. And if you have a question about anything on the website, please feel free to reach out to any of us because we can answer your questions and we for sure will answer your questions. And again, as a chapter officer, you need to take it upon yourself to try to figure out for your school, for wherever you're at, what do you think will be the best benefits that will behoove your members? So please do this part, and I really encourage you to please visit this because this will really help with recruitment. So up next is Smith for recruitment and engagement. But before I hand it over to Smith, I just want to reiterate benefits, member benefits are key because that is the way that you will first engage members. And I know that Smith's going to talk about this, but I just want to kind of lay the groundwork for you. And then you can get into the programming that Diana will speak about later. I thank you all for listening again. I really, really appreciate all of you who are on the call. And this has been a great session so far, and it will continue to be.
Hey guys, I am back. So if you guys have any questions about anything that I talked about, uh, you could probably type it up, and if I have time, I'll answer those questions. I do tend to talk really fast, so again, if you guys want me to slow down, again, type it in the chat box. So, um, talking about recruitment materials, talking about just what could you use to engage other members. Now, we have brochures, we have flyers, we have videos, and all of this is available on the AMSA website. So you could definitely print whatever you need. You could post videos, you could share videos, and they can definitely help you out get involved with members. Um, one of the most important things that I kind of talk about with my chapters is social media. I love social media. I'm a social media nut, and I think that it's you got to embrace technology. And I recommend that chapters set up Facebook pages, start posting up regular updates from the national Facebook page, the AMSA Facebook page. We have a lot of good content that goes out on a daily basis, so you could definitely share that. Remember that the more information that goes out, the more students and members know what's going on with AMSA, right? So that's one way to kind of get people engaged. I know that certain chapters have even gone on to start Twitter pages, uh, even Snapchat. So there's so many ways that you can get your name out there. The chapter rebate program, I think, is just so important, and I think it's just beautiful that we started that. I know a few chapters who've had financial issues, like um, being financially weak. Kind of, it's hard to host events. It's hard to send people to the national events. So with the rebate program coming out there, it's a great way to get finances to your chapter and be a little more financially independent. I know Isaiah talked about it. Don't forget that it comes out twice a year, August and January, and the checks are mailed out to you guys. Usually, someone from the national office gets in touch with you guys to send out the checks. I'm just gonna see if there are any questions. We are okay. All right. So that's that. A very important thing that you want to keep in mind is that your chapter has to be active to get those reimbursement checks, right? And when we say active, that means that we need to have all of your chapter officers on file. Your chapter officers must have completed the core and completed the core questionnaire. It's a small questionnaire that we have after the orientation, so we know that you've completed that. And obviously, that kind of keeps you guys within the national database. Fall Frenzy. Fall Frenzy is amazing. And just as the name says, it's a frenzy, right? And how it works is from the period of the 1st of August to the end of December, December 31st, um, we've started a program where if you could increase your membership by more than 25% compared to the previous year. So if last year we signed up 100 new members, this year our goal will be 125. If you could hit that goal, you can get a free registration to the convention, and that's worth $20 almost, right? So you want to make the most of it. It doesn't really matter what how many members you guys had last year. You just have to meet the 25% increase in memberships. And remember, I talked about personal goals. I talked about goals for all the chapter officers. Take this as a goal. Remember that during the fall, it's probably the largest influx of students you're going to get at one time compared to any other time of the year. So the first few weeks are absolutely key in getting people involved with AMSA. And that means having events, talking about AMSA, what we believe in, national events, programming. I mean, you could just go on and on with the sort of content that we deliver during the year. So the first 3 weeks are absolutely key in getting people signed up. Now, I know that we're talking about recruitment. One of the most important things people ask me is, what am I going to get out of this, right? And I'll give you an example. I remember when I was actually trying to pitch the idea, the membership um, to one of my to one of the students at my school. They asked me, all right, so why do you want my $75? Um, and if it comes to a point where it's kind of that straight up, you want to talk about the sort of programming that we provide during the course of the year. You want to talk about the national events. I know I talked about Rally Day. It's so important to get that sort of exposure, where you won't get anywhere else. But if you think about our partners and some of the tangible benefits that Isaiah talked about, remember that the $75 fee that you have to put in, it's for your time in pre-med, or it's for your time in med school, right? And it's almost for a period of 4 years. Um, but that opens you up, just if you think about it fiscally, just if you think about it just in terms of money, it saves you money in the long run, whether you want to travel, whether you want to get cars, flights, hotels, um, discounts right there. If you are thinking of taking a prep course for an exam, discounts right there. If you are thinking of going for an elective rotation abroad, or if you want to get some clinical experience as a pre-med student, you could use our partners. And there's so many different discounts that you can get. And I'm quite certain that the $75 that you put in, I'm quite sure you could get it back. Now, let's say if none of our partners interest you, even if you come out to our national events, I know that for my exams, if you I all right, let me say this. When you come out to our national events, we have tons and tons of partners out there and people from all over the country trying to sell their products. Even walking into our convention hall with all these different vendors out there, you could walk out of that hall within an hour, and you could have accumulated things which are worth more than $75. I'm quite certain of that. And every time I've gone there, I've I've walked away with a decent amount of things. So um, I think that if it just comes down to numbers, it works out in the long run. If you think about intangible benefits, you get this sort of experience and skill in growing up, growing your chapter, growing yourself, just learning different things, getting exposure and networking with so many different people, which I think you can't really get anywhere else. I think it's just a beautiful uh, you know combination, and it's just worth it. So those are some of the benefits that you could get. Now we have two videos that are out there, and these are examples of how you want to recruit members. Now, before you click on the links, remember this. If you're a pre-med student who is trying to get into med school, or if you're a med student trying to get into residency, or even if you're a resident trying to get a job, remember that you have to sell yourself. You do. You just have to sell yourself. You have to sell yourself. You have to show the other person what is it about you that they wanna kind of get you on board with, right? And it kind of is the same thing with AMSA. You're trying to sell what we believe, what we have to provide to all of you out there. So I think these videos are great examples of how you could kind of get people involved. And I think it's 7:10 Eastern Standard Time, 6:10 Central Standard Time. You guys can click on these videos. They're approximately 2 minutes each, and we will kind of you know get back in 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes, I'll see you guys again. All right. So I think I think that's 5 minutes. Um, is everyone okay? Has everyone watched the two videos? Okay. Um, so that's kind of how you could sell AMSA. You could sell the membership and get people involved. Remember that it's absolutely important for chapter officers to get involved with their chapter. It's extremely important, and that really is the game changer for different chapters, and that's what makes chapters successful. So again, um, you guys have a great team at your disposal. So if you need to get in touch with anyone, you have your region director. You have the membership trio that consists of Isaiah, Bilal, and myself at your disposal. So we're out there to help you in whatever way we can. I wish you the best of luck this year. I want to see you guys at the convention. Feel free to get in touch with me. And I wish you guys the best of luck with Fall Frenzy. So yeah, I'm gonna pass it over to Bilal. Thanks guys, and I'll see you guys soon.
All right. Can you guys all hear me? Can you guys all hear me? Woo! Awesome! Cool. Great. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but now we are all good to go. So, my name is Bilal Kokar. I am the pre-medical trustee for this year. I've been involved with AMSA on a local level for 3 years, and now this year is my first year on national. So very excited to be serving on this position. And today, right now, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about running effective meetings and how to raise money. So this is a really, really important thing to run your meetings effectively, because if you if your meetings aren't effective, then you're gonna eventually lose attendance as you progress throughout your semester. So there are various things that you can do to run your meetings effectively. So the first thing is that you can market your meeting effectively. And you can do this through a variety of ways. The first thing and the most simple thing you can do is through flyers. You can post them around campus. You can leave them at your school's information desk or anywhere you might see where there are kind of higher traffic areas. You can ask the smaller science labs, the professors or the TAs to actually pass out these flyers after lab or after lab is over. Or you can even wait outside the science lecture halls to make sure to see if you can pass out these flyers to all the flood of people that will be coming out. So it's a really really effective way. Additionally, if you want to post them in the science departments, that's probably also a good move as well. Another thing you can do to market is you can post announcements through school newsletters. Oftentimes, students, according to like their major or department, they're set up to receive a newsletter from the department automatically. So it's a really effective way because it's digital. It's not like through mail or anything. They're gonna get it through their email, and odds are they're gonna click on it. So if you can start putting some information about your local chapter through the school newsletters, that would be great. You'll definitely be able to market your meetings that way too. Um, so another way you can do is through the school listservs, and that's also another great way to do it. And um, the next thing I would say, some students are kind of hesitant on doing this, and some students, are like, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Is going and asking professors of the larger lecture halls to be able to go and approach them and give a small short minute speech about your local AMSA meeting, your local AMSA chapter meeting, and kind of in that time, like how Isaiah was telling you guys about the personal narrative, 30 seconds, minute, very quick, short narrative. Let them know what AMSA is, what it stands for. They can be a part of it, and then you can gauge a lot of attention in that type of way too. Another thing that's very important is that oftentimes when the semester starts, there are a lot of events for like freshmen, and they have student organizations. They have like whole tabling events. So for my college ASU, we have this event and it's called Passport to ASU, and it's located in the gym and it's located in the lunch area, and the whole bunch of organizations, they table for incoming freshmen and also upperclassmen. So that's a great way to market your chapter. So because a lot of freshmen are looking to get involved, and especially when you are coming from high school and you just know that you're pre med, you know you have the mindset that I just need to get into a pre med organization to make it look good. So oftentimes, the high school kids who are just coming in, they're gonna look for the pre med organizations, and they're just gonna join it for the sake of it. But
Thanks so much, Bilal. Can you guys hear me out there? Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us. I know you're all very busy, and it's been awesome interacting with a lot of you in the chat box. So my name's Diana Huang. As Bilal said, I'm the Vice President for Program Development this year at AMSA, and I'm a fourth-year medical student at Temple University in Philadelphia. So I'm really excited to talk to you all about AMSA programming and advocacy. A couple of the other speakers have talked to you about it already, but I'm really passionate about this because this is how I got involved in AMSA. So some of you might be wondering, what is programming? So it's a pretty broad category. So it's live events. We have like convention, web events like webinars. We have blog posts on our AMSA On Call blog, podcasts. We have our AMSA AdLib podcast, which you guys can find on iTunes. If you're not already subscribed, you should definitely subscribe. And most of this content is student produced. And if you're interested in contributing, you can definitely reach out to me too, and we can talk about ways that you could contribute to this content. It's a great way for students to get their voices out there. So Kelly talked about how AMSA is student run. And this means that not only do students make the decisions about how the organization is run, most of us who have spoken on here so far are on the AMSA Board of Trustees, which makes decisions about the organization. But also it means that the speakers we get, speakers that we have at convention or local events or online webinars, they believe in the power of students. They believe that students have the power to change the future of medicine. So our generation is kind of different from some of the older generations of doctors out there. Like Smit talked about earlier, we're on social media, we're tech savvy, we're going to be the future of medicine. The first AMSA event I went to was a local AMSA programming event on patient safety and medical quality. And if you don't know, medical errors, which are mistakes that happen in the medical system, they cause thousands of deaths in the US medical system. And I went to this event and learned about this problem, which I hadn't really known about before, was told by an expert who was also a past AMSA member, who's now the dean of school of population health, about like how big of an issue this is. But not only did he just tell us about it, he told us that we as students could make a difference, and our voices were really important in really making a change. And for me, as a first-year medical student at the time, unlike in my classes like anatomy and biochemistry, where I felt like the only thing I could really do is just like keep my head down and look at my books and just study and learn, I felt like at AMSA, I could make a difference right now, and I could really get engaged with students who really wanted to make a difference, not just a couple years down the road, but as students with our voices right now. So I think that's something really powerful about AMSA. And it's what kept me motivated whenever the long hours of studying seemed like too much sometimes. It was really awesome and reinvigorating to engage with my local AMSA members and also AMSA members nationally through National AMSA, like some of the people you've met today. People who just care a lot and really want to make a difference. And that gave me energy throughout medical school and gives me energy now as I'm almost about to become a doctor, to know that there's this amazing network of students across the country who care so much. And I'm really a little bit jealous about the pre-meds who are on here today because I didn't really get that involved with AMSA until I was a medical student member. And you guys are really lucky to know about it this early and have some extra years to learn more about it and get involved now. So let me actually go into my slides now. So Kelly talked about our action committees. So this is sort of a busy slide, but these are all the action committees, and these are the teams that I oversee. So you can see on here, there's all these different topics that we have action committees on. I won't read off all of them, but I know some of you are interested in global health. Some of you are interested in like diversity in medicine. So we have the Race, Ethnicity, and Culture and Health Committee, which is our REACH committee. Some students are interested in student wellness. So we have our Wellness and Student Life Committee. One of the topics that we're really passionate about is LGBT and women's health. So that's within our Gender and Sexuality Committee. We also have this amazing opportunity for you to learn more about some topics that you're interested in that aren't covered so much in pre-med and medical school, like many of these topics that are here. So about sexual health, about medical education, about single parent, things like that. So those are all within AMSA Academy, which you see here on the bottom right-hand corner. So AMSA Academy has a bunch of programs called Scholars Programs, and you'll be getting emails about this soon from National AMSA when we open up applications. But there are about 10 different programs that you can get involved in, and they're things that aren't usually covered in regular pre-med and medical curriculum. But it's a way you can get tied in with other students around the country who care about these issues and learn from experts about them. So when you guys all get this slide deck, you'll be able to look through this. And also you can find these all on our website. Rachel also put in a web page where you can find the email contacts for all of our national leaders. So each of these boxes here, so there's chairs, programming coordinators, advocacy coordinators. I would say the best way to get in contact first is either contact me. My email is bppd@amsa.org. Throw it in here real quick. Or you can contact any of these chairs and they'll link you in with the right people so you can get involved. All right. So Kelly also mentioned our 3 campaigns. So these campaigns have been going on for a long time, and we've been able to make a big impact through these campaigns. So we have our AIDS Advocacy Network, which does advocacy around funds for fighting AIDS and other global health issues such as tuberculosis. They will do advocacy events throughout the country, going to like senators, like other politicians' events, and talk to them about like, hey, like what are you doing about AIDS funding? And we've been able to get responses from a lot of people on this. So if that's something you're passionate about, you can definitely get involved there. We have our Just Medicine campaign, which as Kelly said, make sure that our medical system puts patients above profits. So going against things like consumer-directed advertising or doctors getting money from pharmaceutical companies that influences them to prescribe certain drugs even if they might not be in the best interest of the patient. And finally, our Healthcare for All campaign, which is our campaign for universal healthcare for all. So this is also something we've had for a long time. We collaborate with other organizations on this, and AMSA has been a strong voice for single payer for a long time. And that's really exciting, Zakaria, that ASU has an AAN chapter. That's awesome. So some chapters will actually have an officer or a committee within their AMSA chapter dedicated to either any of these campaigns or any of the committees and teams you saw earlier. So some chapters will even have like an officer for each of these committees, like they'll have a medical education coordinator or a chair or something like that. And those people will be responsible for doing local events related to these national activities we're having. So if you have a lot of people in your chapter who are interested in getting more involved in AMSA, and there's only so many chapter positions, this is a way that you can give members responsibility and ownership of your AMSA chapter and give them like something specific to do which they're passionate about. So Kelly also mentioned our national advocacy strategy for this year. So along with the 2 previous slides, which are things we have going all the time, these are 3 of our focuses for this year. So women's health, LGBTQ health, and healthcare reform. So some of the actions we've had recently for women's health, we wrote letters to senators about Zika virus funding. I don't know if you all have heard, but we're having more cases of Zika virus in the US, and President Obama asked for more funding for this, the necessary amount of funding that we need to really make sure that this doesn't get out of hand, and Congress hasn't yet provided all that funding. So we've been writing letters for that. We also write letters for women's health and make sure that there's support for pro-choice organizations. For LGBTQ health, we recently wrote letters to the FDA about their policy on blood donation for males who have sex with men. And we have also done local advocacy on fighting trans discrimination, such as like the bathroom bills that you've probably heard about. So Matt Moy, who was on this chat box earlier, he had to step off, but he's a great person to contact. He actually graduated med school last year, but he's working at the AMSA National Office all year. But even though he's technically working at the AMSA National Office, he's actually traveling all over the country. So he's based out of DC and does a lot of meetings in DC, sometimes at the White House, but he also travels all over the country to local chapters. So you can definitely reach out to him about that or anything you're interested in, and he can get you hooked up. And also, I wanted to let you know that if you're interested and like towards the end of your med school career, or know somebody who's towards the end of their med school career and is really into this sort of stuff, that our applications for next year's EAF, Education and Advocacy Fellow, are open. They're closing actually pretty soon, so if you know anybody who might be interested, I would definitely direct them to the application. Noreen's just posted the link in the chat box. So, as a lot of people have said, definitely get involved and get your members to get involved. So Isaiah and many of the others have talked about kind of ways you can get members by talking about things like member benefits and engaging them in the local chapter. But another way is to make sure that they're hooked into National AMSA, because it's things like the member benefits that can get people to become members. But what we really want is engaged members who are excited about AMSA and will spread that excitement to other students and get them to be excited about AMSA too. So we have just this movement of students who are very engaged and want to change the future for a very caring, humanistic version of medicine that we all stand for. So some ways you can engage. So you can join a listserv. I have the link here. So there's listservs for each of those committees you saw earlier. So like medical education listserv, gender and sexuality listserv. So for any interest that you have, you can sign up for those specific listservs. They don't post that often, but it's a way that you can stay connected with the leadership there. And also each of the teams and campaigns has a Facebook page. So if you just go on Facebook and search AMSA and then put in the name of the committee, so AMSA Medical Education or something like that, it'll probably pop up. And also we'll be sending out emails soon from National AMSA, which will have links to all the Facebook pages. But I definitely recommend if any of those committees stuck out to you, just like look for them on Facebook and like them. They're posting great content all the time. And then here's the link again to contact national leadership. So my email's on there, and all the other people who have spoken, their emails are on there, and all the leaders of all the committees are on there. So you can totally contact any of us at any time. You can email me at any time, and just don't be afraid to reach out for help or to tell us about the awesome stuff that you're doing so we can blast that stuff out and give you guys the recognition you deserve for the awesome stuff that you're doing. And feel free to ask me any questions in the chat box. So finally, I wanted to talk about some of the national events that we have, and some people have mentioned these already. So here are the scholars programs that I mentioned earlier. We'll be opening registration soon from them, and again, these are topics that aren't usually covered in the regular curriculum. These are online programs, so you'll be able to interact with students across the country on these issues. And I also have been a participant in some of these scholars programs, and it's been a really life-changing experience, a great way to meet new people, and I definitely have lifelong friends from some of these scholars programs. There's also AMSA Pre-Med Fest for the pre-meds out there, coming up pretty soon, October in Florida, so it's a great location, and early bird registration closes pretty soon. And what's really awesome about AMSA Pre-Med Fest and AMSA events in general is sometimes you think of conference and you think that's boring. It's just like a bunch of old people talking about stuff like being self-important. But AMSA events are always student focused, and what it's really about is the joy of medicine and getting excited about the future and all the awesome stuff that's out there. So you'll get your chance to try things hands-on, learn from experts, and people who are further along the path than you. and really just feel reinvigorated to keep going, because I know being a pre-med, being a med student can be very stressful. And sometimes you can forget why you're in it. And this is a great way to remind yourself and meet some awesome new people. Next, we have our fall conferences, which have also been mentioned a couple times. We have 2 this year, one in Puerto Rico and one in New York City. So again, pretty awesome locations. And while these are a little bit more focused towards med students, they're an awesome place for pre-meds too. You'll be ahead of the game if you get there as a pre-med student. And you can learn about current issues, hear some really inspiring speakers, build up your clinical skills, and again, meet some awesome new people. Whenever you come to an AMSA conference, you're really kind of in the top like go-getter population, because there's not so many people who will take that leap to get out of their regular like school lives and go somewhere new and into this environment where they might not know anybody. So I encourage you to take that leap, and also get a lot of other students from your school to take that leap, because it's a really fantastic experience. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And finally, our AMSA convention. That's where the House of Delegates, the HOD, that Kelly mentioned at the beginning happens, but it's also where we have our most incredible speakers, I think. And it's our biggest event. Hundreds of students, tons of exhibitors, which with tons of free stuff that Roberta's talked about earlier in the chat box here. Really just an amazing experience in Washington, D.C., where you can learn a ton, meet a ton of new people, and again, just feel reinvigorated about why you're in this and the amazing possibilities you have in medicine. All right, so that's all for me. Again, feel free to email me anytime at vppd@amsa.org. And it's been awesome being on with you. I'm going to pass it back to Bilal.
Okay, everyone. I am just going to spend some time transitioning to the last slides here, because as you can see, we had to go back, and then I'm going to, and I'm sorry about the picture. I'll fix that in a second. Okay. So I believe this is where I can pick up again. So I just want to thank all of you for coming out tonight and giving us 2 hours of your time. I also want to thank all of the staff who is on the call, all of the national leaders who have made the call tonight. This is very, very important and meaningful to all of us, because for me, especially as VP of Membership, having the opportunity to not only speak with medical students, but to also speak with pre-medical students and international students, it is really, really meaningful to me. So there's a lot of information that has been delivered to you tonight, and it is my goal and my duty to sum it up for you very concisely, because I know most of us like things that kind of bullet points, and that's how most of us retain information. So with that in mind, first thing, what a chapter officer seeks to do is to recruit members, and recruiting members is vital, and it is dependent upon many things, but 2 things have been illustrated to you tonight and really been talked about a lot, and that is the member benefits that we offer, as well as the programming that we offer. So of course you can reach out to the membership team about any of the member benefits, but you can also reach out to Diana, who just spoke, about the programming. You can also ask the membership about the programming, but reaching out to Diana, she knows exactly what's going on, and that would be really, really great. But of course, we would love to hear from you as the membership team. So please, please reach out to us when you have any questions, and then we can direct you to whomever may be able to help you. With that in mind, the next thing that as a chapter officer you should be focused on is making sure that you are able to at least attend one of the fall conferences, and the ultimate goal is to have every member that we can at National Convention. And I know this has already been spoken about and we're coming to a close here, but National Convention is where you will truly, truly feel the fire and passion of all of the AMSA members and all of the AMSA national leaders. And it was the AMSA convention in 2012 where I really, really started feeling the power that AMSA has to offer. So I can only say this to you one time, and again, I can keep saying it over and over, that it is very imperative for you all as chapter officers to grasp what's going on at National, because in that way you can better deliver the information to your members. So I have nothing else to really add, but what I will make sure to say is that, again, I have provided my email and my cell phone number, and have been getting messages from people while the session has been going on, and I've been responding as quickly as I can. But a question was asked whether or not the slides would be available after the presentation, and the answer to that is yes, the slides will be available. I'm not exactly sure how Noreen wants to go about disseminating the slides, but I know we will get that figured out as soon as possible. So I really thank all of you for attending tonight, and as far as we're concerned, we are complete. But again, you can email, message, text me if you have any questions. Thank you all so much for attending.